Uh-oh. Melvin, you can't unmute? Okay. All right. We're gonna have to get another volunteer then.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, I'm all right now.
Oh, you're all right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll wait just a few more
Okay.
minutes. All
Y'all
right.
ready?
Yeah. No, not yet. We'll just wait for a couple more
Okay.
minutes.
Okay.
Representative Hawkins, did you get the email from Melvin about Lieutenant Governor Stratton's breakfast? I don't know if you got that.
I didn't. I don't remember seeing that. When is it?
Okay, it's Friday at the um, caucus. We can resend it. I think we
Yeah,
got
send
it.
it to me. You send that on the email?
Uh,
Yeah, I think I did.
My state email or personal?
I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna put
Which is the best way to send it?
the personal so I can get it directly.
Okay. All right.
Okay, and what we'll
Okay.
do, Aria, put it in the chat for them. Okay.
yes, ma'am. Okay, because our son is do. I know you
Already
met.
on it.
Yeah, and our son is a good friend of hers, and they're doing the breakfast for her to meet and greet.
All right. What time is it on Friday?
Let's see, it's at 8:30 a.m. I don't know if that's Central Time or
Eastern time.
Eastern Time. 8:30, so 7:30 our time.
Okay.
It's in Wash. It's in DC. Yeah, of course it's in DC.
So it's a virtual?
No, ma'am. The way I understand it, it's a meet and greet. We'll send you the email and then you can determine if you can do that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's at
All
the
right.
Black. It's in DC during the
Oh,
call.
during the Black Caucus,
Yes, ma'am.
Congressional Black Caucus deal. Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
your son is in DC.
No, 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 ma'am. He has been. No, he knows Juliana when he lived and worked in Chicago, and so they've been friends for a while. And he helped her become the lieutenant governor and worked on her campaign and stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to officially get started. It is 8:03. And so for those that are new to the Power Breakfast, our goal at the Power Breakfast is really to get information to people, to make sure they have accurate information as we're making decisions. And there are a lot of decisions moving forward that's before us in terms of the propositions, other elected offices, and things like that. So my goal, the fourth Tuesday of every month, we meet from 8 to about 9. Sometimes we go over a little bit just to get questions answers and make announcements. But the goal is to make sure people have information they need to make good decisions. So I'm proud to say that today we're going to talk about a healthcare program because, as you all know, with the ACH going away and other problems we have, our folks need to know what's happening in the healthcare space so that they can get some support. And then I'll talk about the propositions and some of the things that's going to happen during the election moving forward. So let's get started. So we've got our volunteer, Mr. Melvin Brazil, who's going to give us our opening prayer. Melvin, you got the floor.
Okay, we just bow our heads, please. Father, we thank you again for another opportunity to come and meet with our state representative. Father, we just thank you for all that you do for her and giving her the strength and the ability to work in these hard times. Father, we ask, God, that you just keep us moving ahead. We've been through so many things in the past. Has enabled us to do so much with so little. And we ask, Father, that you just continue to move us, strengthen our minds and our hearts and everything that we do. We ask, Father, that you just continue to bless us, bless everyone that's on this call today. Help us to understand what is going to be given to us so we can utilize that to help ourselves and our community. Protect us as we move forward. keep our strength. And above all, Father, we pray that we would just keep the faith that we've always had in you. Our people have always made a way out of no way. And we know that, God, as long as we have our faith in you, that you will continue to move us forward. Guide our hearts, guide our mind. Thank you for everything that you do. In your son Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that, Mel. Appreciate it. So we'll start with our first panel on a discussion from Scan Health Plan and Community Opportunities. And our guest speakers will be Travis Christie and also Mercedes. And so why don't y'all tell us a little bit about yourself and then get into your presentation. Y'all have the floor, whoever goes first, Mercedes or Travis. Unmute yourself, sir. Unmute yourself.
There we go. Thank you. Sorry, it wasn't letting me. Thank you, Representative Hawkins. Appreciate the chance to talk to you and your team here today. So we're here to talk about what SCAN is, the company that we're representing, and a little bit about a Medicare Advantage. And then I'll turn it over to my colleague Mercedes, and she's going to talk about one of our entities, Independence at Home, and some of the community initiatives that we do as a not-for-profit organization. So we greatly appreciate the time today. So thank you very much. SCAN stands for Senior Care Action Network. We are a nonprofit organization that is a Medicare Advantage company, one of the few in the country that are not for profit. We were founded in 1977 in Long Beach by 12 seniors who wanted to make a different path forward for healthcare. They were not satisfied with how it was working for them. Became a social HMO, and we are now a Medicare Advantage company that's been around for nearly 50 years. Over those 50 years, this company has evolved to become nation-leading nonprofit Medicare Advantage plan that's dedicated to keeping seniors healthy and independent. And independent is the important piece. We want to make sure that as our seniors move through their golden years, that we provide the tools and the health coverage so that they can stay as independent as possible. We began serving Bexar and Harris County in the state of Texas back in 2023. And we have a commitment to the Texas seniors, and it's just beginning. We expect to have a really robust AP in Bexar County. Bexar County, we do have Gonzaba. We've recently signed Hillside Family Practice. We have Prospect, which is now part of Astrana. And we have Flagship, which is a veteran-based provider group. Those are our strong provider groups in your county there in Bexar County and for San Antonio. A little bit about Medicare Advantage. Medicare Advantage is for people who are eligible for Medicare, and they have many choices for their coverage, but Medicare Advantage is known as Part C. This is an all-in-one alternative to Original Medicare. Original Medicare, it provides flexibility and choice of doctors, specialists, and hospitals. However, when people choose Original Medicare, this option requires some financial responsibility for some of the benefits and services that you receive through Medicare fee-for-service. Medicare Advantage provides comprehensive bundled plans that include Part A, Part B, and may also include Part D. Our plans are MAPD plans. Most Medicare Advantage plans offer extra benefits, as we do, which include things like dental, vision, hearing, transportation, and other types of benefits such as post-acute meals. So Medicare Advantage brings a little bit extra to the table for those members that want to have it something extra, and the provider or the specialist that they have is in our network. Are there any questions for me on either SCAN or Medicare Advantage?
My question, Travis, is how is that and the possibility of the ACH going away? What should folks on this call today be able to tell people about their benefits? Do they get the same doctor? What changes for them if they get in this program?
If they get in this program, so what typically happens for Medicare Advantage prospects, They would speak to a licensed broker representative. That broker would speak to them about their health conditions, the medications they're on, and the providers that they are utilizing. They will then look at the offerings that they have, and when the provider and the specialist line up with the benefits and the medication that's best serve that member, then they will choose a plan for them. And we believe with the benefits and the network that we're building, we will be on the top of the list most of the time.
Great. So is Mercedes going to talk a little bit more about cost and all that kind of stuff?
She's going to talk about our community and dedication. As a non-for-profit, we do a lot of community events and a lot of community services.
Okay. Mercedes, you got the floor.
Thank you so much, Representative. And thank you so much for inviting us to join this meeting and share what we do at SCAN. Briefly about myself, I'm the Director of Community Giving and Community Programs. And through SCAN Community Service Arm, which is called Independence at Home, we support older adults and caregivers in Bexar County. So we define older adults for this particular program that I'm going to talk about in the series of programs. Older adults are ages 55 plus. We also provide supports to caregivers. So we see that a lot of older adults rely on friends, family, etc., to help them with any type of support for them to age in place in their home. So what we do provide through our nonprofits, this is how we give back to the community, is we provide health education to older adults, as well as nonprofit organizations that we partner. And we have over 50 different class topics, all tailored to older adults. We have fall prevention. We have fun classes like laughter yoga, maintaining your brain, how to avoid scams, just different things that help older adults sort of stay healthy and independent in their home. We also do a trading ages and age awareness sensitivity program. So we train a lot of individuals who work with older adults who perhaps may not have been trained or have experience of working with older adults. So sort of like working on how to best communicate with older adults who might have vision problems, who might have hearing problems, et cetera. Just be sensitive of the fact that individuals might have different abilities and how to best work with them. And so one thing that we've done in actually Montgomery Food Bank in Montgomery, Texas, is be able to train some of their volunteers that work with older adults in delivering food boxes to them. So that's been a great sort of offering that we've provided to nonprofit organizations. The other thing that I wanted to mention is we do grant making and sponsorships to nonprofit and government agencies. So year to date, we've given over $165,000 to 11 agencies in Bexar County, which include the San Antonio Food Bank to deliver fresh produce bags to older adults, and also the food box program, Meals on Wheels, also San Antonio. And what we're seeing is that older adults, they're living longer, and their financial sort of outlook is sort of limited if many of them are relying on Social Security, et cetera. So they really do need other nonprofit organizations who provide these services at no cost for them to be able to live healthy and independent in their homes. Another organization that we fund locally in Bexar County is Family Service Association. So they provide, through our grant, they provide emergency assistance to older adults. They might find themselves where, their refrigerator broke down and they may need to fix it or procure a new one, but their limited sort of resources do not allow for that. So they sort of do sort of emergency one-time assistance to for older adults to really just support them as they age in their home. Also, Casa Elote Senior Center and Catholic Charities Archdiocese of San Antonio. So we understand the summer heat is pretty impactful, especially for older adults. So they've actually, we funded their program so they can deliver box fans to different older adults to stay cool in their homes. And so those are some of the ways that we support through being a Medicare Advantage nonprofit plan. We support the agencies that provide different services and programming to older adults. And I just wanted to sort of learn more about what are some of the needs of older adults and their caregivers that you're seeing that we can support. And I know there are some, I'm trying to see the chat. There were some questions. I'd be happy to take any of them.
Well,
Oh,
okay, go ahead, Ariel.
okay. The first question is going to come from Miss Tracy Shelton.
Good morning.
Good
How
morning.
are you? Thank you for being here. I heard representatives talk about ACH going away and you guys being an option. So my question was twofold. What's the age requirement? And I think you said 55. But then what support does SCAN generally provide for those who would lose health care via the Affordable Care?
So I think what we are talking is individuals who are already recipients of Medicare to sign up into a Medicare Advantage health plan, basically sort of a health plan that would provide them additional services. I'm not quite sure. I don't know if Kelsey's on the line in terms of what those individuals who are losing ACA would sort of the intersection with our program.
Happy to answer that. So appreciate the question. And I know there's a lot of sort of uncertainty and concern from folks right now about what their coverage is potentially going to look like in 2026. So the Affordable Care Act enhanced subsidies that were put in place a few years ago at this time have not been teed up to be reauthorized for 2026. So the coverage will still be available, but it would probably be at a very different premium than folks have been accustomed to over the last couple of years. So it's going to be really, really important for folks to shop around. Go to healthcare.gov. That is where the shopping tool lives for folks to be able to make a decision about the coverage that's best for them. There's a question about sort of what's the eligibility for Medicare. It's age 65 and up. And then folks who are younger than 65 who qualify on the basis of disability can also access Medicare coverage. So if you're a purchaser sort of purchasing on behalf of your family, either for yourself or for your family as a whole, when you are buying coverage through the ACA, it's going to be really important to take a look at that renewal notice that comes in the mail, and then to go to healthcare.gov and take a look and see what premium might be affordable for you, and also what plans are still going to be a good match for your family's needs. It's going to be a really important year to go shop around.
The other question focused around, does churches qualify for any of your grants? So if churches did outreach programs and or wanted to host a day or something, do y'all give grants to our faith-based entities?
Yes, they must have, though, a 501c3, sort of a nonprofit status. That is sort of a charitable giving requirement. But yes, we have provided sponsorships or grants to faith-based organizations.
So how do we make all of that happen? Healthcare is big. And as we're, trying to bring it to the top of mind of everybody for longevity and quality of life, how do we get in touch with SCAN? How do we become a good partner? Because, in the African American community, naturally, our faith-based organizations is where a lot of our seniors are. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to provide, I would say, an educational series so that we can make sure folks are getting the support and the help that they need. So who would be our point of contact?
I could be your point of contact for both community health education. We do offer online classes, but and also sponsorships. So I don't know if it's appropriate for me to provide my contact information and also where to go to find information about grants in the chat. I could drop it in right now if that's okay. Yes.
That would
Okay.
be helpful. Yes,
Yes.
sir. Amen. Larita, you had a question about a gap between that age of 55 and 65.
Correct.
So Mercedes, what happens with that gap? Or do y'all start at 55 and up, or y'all start at 65?
So for our programs, they're more educational and grants, obviously. So they're 55 plus, understanding that many older adults are in that sort of like gap years. And so our health education and grants are for those 55 and over. And also they're caregivers. So we do understand that, caregivers might sort of experience stress, especially if they're taking care of someone who they require a lot of attention in their homes. So online programming actually really works well for them. And we work with many caregiver organizations to provide that information.
So you're talking counseling, things
We're
like
talking, yeah, or support, like just how to education on how to relieve stress. We have gratitude journals, just some things so that, they can focus on themselves because it is stressful sort of being either I find myself in a sandwich generation, taking care of kids and both my parents. And so it does become stressful, right? So this is an opportunity for them maybe to join a class online and talk to others and just provide that escape. I know one of the things that was mentioned is that caregivers sort of see it with pride that they help their family members, neighbors, relatives, and that is true. So it's not an escape. It's really sort of like taking care of themselves so they could take care of others.
Yeah, and
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, just to clarify for the question. So what Mercedes talking about, the community aspect that we have, that's the 55 through. For the coverage that we were talking about, Medicare Advantage, that's, as Kelsey mentioned, that's going to be 65 unless you qualify with a disability. There are certain disabilities that you can qualify for Medicare. So qualifying for Medicare is the key factor for being part of the SCAM Medicare Advantage healthcare coverage. Just
Okay.
wanted to.
Thank you. That was more my question because I wanted to make sure that we weren't information to qualify for Medicare in order to take
Larissa, you going in and out.
advantage of the service you're offering in that field. Also, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
No, you still can't hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, thank you. And it also sounds like what Ms. Mercedes was saying is that there are other opportunities for folks under 55 to receive direct care. So my question surrounding that, I thought earlier you said you all provide training for that. Is that something that's open to, like, what ages is the training open to if they want to learn how to be caregivers?
So our not necessarily to be caregivers, but there are some classes that may be of interest to caregivers and just to be educated in terms of how to care for an older adult or some of the issues that they're struggling with, like, controlling diabetes, controlling cholesterol, et cetera. So those are the types of programs that we offer. And those don't have, our target population is ages 55 plus from a recipient standpoint. But if you're a caregiver and caring for an older adult who is 55 plus, I mean, you can join any of our classes that are available online. And I can drop some upcoming classes just for you to get a feel of what we offer to the community. And again, these are no charge. We don't talk about any health plan program, et cetera. It's really just an educational sort of opportunity for anyone to join. So I hope that answers the question.
So if I'm 22 and I got to take care of mom now or whatever, y'all can help me get that training and help me understand better of what's going on.
Correct. And we do have trading ages, which I highly recommend because it really opened my eyes out up, I don't know, my eyes to just, being more sympathetic to my parents. They are slower and that's part of age, and sort of just being mindful of that because we have many biases when it comes to aging. It's actually one of the biggest bias in the United States, aging, because we tend to look for a more youthful sort of culture. And so they might not necessarily know that, it's the natural progression of aging. They might experience vision problems. Individuals might actually have, we do a series where we look at pills and individual sort of eyesight and ability to differentiate between pill colors is is something that you experience. So you need a caregiver to be able to sort of look at their medication that they're taking, because that is a concern. So just things that you need to be aware of, like, as you age, and we all want to age, we all want to live longer. So it's just mindful of that. So I could drop some of these online classes that we offer, so you get a feeling of what we do, and we do offer them in English and Spanish. Those are the only two languages currently we have available.
Appreciate that, Mercedes. You know what? So what I've heard today, just I like to, as an educator, check for understanding that what we're looking for on Mercedes programs are more of support and help and education of how we deal with our aging population. And that training is available online to any age. Also helping find food support and other supports that seniors may need. So I see that as a support network that is able to help seniors. And so we'll make sure that folks on this call get the contact information. And what I'm hearing from Kelsey and Tracy more so, or Travis, is about the health care itself, which is 65 and older. But what I have, I'm trying to understand a little bit more about the health care itself. There's a cost, I'm assuming income, slide costs, or is it just age eligibility and sign up? What happens with that cost associated with this healthcare you're going to get?
Question. I'll try and field that. So, if you qualify for Medicare Advantage, then you can look at a Medicare Advantage plan. Most Medicare Advantage plans, you can find some $0 premiums, but some of them have premiums. We have some $0 premium plans. That means you're not paying anything a month. You would look at your Medicare Advantage plans. A lot of them try to make sure that we're removing obstacles for well care. So what does that mean? That means your PCP visits could be a very low cost or no cost. Your specialty visits for some of the maintenance of healthiness could be low cost or no cost. So each plan is different, and it would require that person to sit down with, like I said before, a licensed agent to make sure that you get the plan that suits you best. But yes, there are low cost options out there for individuals that might be looking for getting additional benefits up and beyond what a Medicare fee-for-service would give you. Medicare fee-for-service is going to require you to have a cost share in everything that you are having services done for. Does that help?
It does, but it is an income qualifier. I want to be clear. It is an income qualifier. So what I pay, zero pay or low pay, is based on my current financial condition, correct?
No, there are different types of products. So there are products out there that would be for dual eligible individuals, Medicare and Medicaid. So that's where you're asking. That's where those would fall into. But for a general enrollment, like most people call them classic plans, an HMO plan, that doesn't necessarily require you to have income or qualification. It is the design of the benefit, which usually typically have the lower cost shares than what typical Medicare does.
So you're saying if I make $1 million a year, I can qualify for Medicare?
Well, yeah, Medicare is set there out there for as seniors that reach the 65 and older. And then there are different levels for income depending on whether you qualify for Medicaid or not. And you can do what's called a dual eligible product, which allows you to have Medicaid and Medicare together.
Tell me this, and we'll kind of end on this unless there's one other burning question. When we think of healthcare, okay, we know some doctors are no longer taking Medicaid, okay? What makes y'all different from anybody else in terms of even in the marketplace? Is it costs? Is it services? Can I get my same doctors that I've had for the last 5 years? What makes SCAN different? What makes that Medicare Advantage plan different than anything that exists now?
I believe it's our not-for-profit status. And why does that make it different? It allows us where For-profit companies have to have a margin that either goes back to their shareholders or goes to their private equity. We don't have shareholders. We are a not-for-profit organization. Therefore, we serve our members, and that allows us to have richer benefits than a for-profit, and it allows us to be better compensation for our providers. So the not-for-profit is what makes us different.
Understood. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I appreciate that, folks from SCAN, and we will continue to have conversations so that we can get the word out to our communities and try to connect some of our faith-based entities so we can continue to educate folks about what's out there and what's available. So thank y'all so much.
Yeah, we thank you
Thank
so
you
much
so
for the
much.
time. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
All righty. Y'all can stay on and listen to the politics, or we know if you got to go and do something else, we understand that too. So again, thank you to our presenters. So we want to talk a little bit about what's happening in the political space right now. You know, part of this agenda was next steps in the politics world, okay? And I think all of us know that a lot is going on. So we've got to get prepared for what's happening. We have a November 4th, 2025 election coming up. There's going to be a lot of things on the agenda. These 17 constitutional amendments. I kind of want to share with the folks on this call the constitutional amendment. Let's talk about that for a minute and why that's important. Well, think about it like this. We have a state constitution. We have a federal constitution, but we also have a state constitution. What does that mean? The Constitution embeds things into law. And why do we need these amendments? Well, once something is in the Constitution, written into Texas law, what it does, it says now any changes to those rules must go before the people, okay? So it limits the power of government and putting more power into the people's hands. It also it makes it harder for future legislators to change things, because when we do a constitution amendment, it is 150 of us. You must have 100 votes to be able to change something in the Constitution. So think about it. Right now in Texas, it's 88 Republicans in the House and 62 Democrats. So if you need 100 votes to change a constitutional amendment, well, or you to make an amendment to the Constitution, you've got to have a bipartisan action. So I want to be clear on why that's so important. Okay. So on November 4th, we've got 17 amendments. So you're going to have a long ballot. The key is to be ready and to be prepared. So I would say to each and every one of you, before you go in that ballot booth, go ahead and you can go online and get a sample ballot, or you can go online and Google up Texas constitutional amendments proposed for November 2025, and you'll see all 17 of them, so that you're not in the booth trying to read all of them on the fly. I would suggest that you read them in advance. There's quite a few of them, about 13 of them, 12, I'm sorry, that's related to tax relief. Then you've got what they call the public safety, which is bail reform. Then you've got education and workforce funding for our junior colleges, parental rights and voting rights, and then major health research. So that's kind of the subject matter of these amendments. And my question to the group here is that how would y'all think my office can be helpful to be able to go into some of these amendments and help you in terms of as you're voting? Because I'm going to assume everybody on this call is a voting participant. And so how can we help you more? Or do you have any ideas about that? I'll be happy to address anybody who wants to jump in and talk to me about how you want to deal with these 17 amendments. I can go over to what I call the hot button ones, but what do you believe would be helpful to you as you're making your decision on how to vote on these amendments? Anybody have any ideas?
I
State
do.
rep.
Do we just unmute or do we raise our hand?
Raise your hand would be nice, but you unmuted now, so
Okay.
you got the floor.
I apologize. Thank you so much. My name is Yolanda. This is my first time coming to one of these meetings, so I appreciate it. I'm not well versed on politics, but I understand that it's time for us to begin to take action. So in order to help me and probably help those of our community, I would say educate us. You know, I think that social media platforms are something that we can take advantage of. So maybe amendment like one by one. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like this amendment is for this, you know, just education, putting it out there more, letting us see more, giving us more knowledge, I think would be helpful.
Understood. Okay. Anybody else have any recommendations?
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. This is Darius Dempsey. How you doing?
Fine, thank you.
So I think one of the things that could be helpful is if your team could put together some kind of a brief or something that we're able to actually share on social media that breaks down each amendment in plain English, the pros and cons of each of them, so we can share it and other people can read it and see it and be made aware in the same way the last guest who was just speaking, saying to educate us. As we know, a lot of information nowadays gets out through social media. So if if you could provide us something where we can then share it via social media, that would be really helpful.
Will do. Got it. Thank you. I've got a Mr. Green, CJ Green, Van Green.
Hi, I'm a miss.
Miss-
Thank you for hosting these every month. And I just want to piggyback on Darius and the prior speaker about kind of a pros cons list. I know like the League of Women Voters sometimes will put out a kind of sheet of just like if you vote yes, this is more or less in a an a partisan whatever way, and if you vote a no, this is what this means. I mean, we know that the big buzz is Project Marvel. I know here in Bexar County, and I was not aware there were 17 more amendments. So, yes, definitely education. And I'm also on a board for a neighborhood association here in San Antonio with Menke Park. And these are the types of things we can share with our residents to make sure they go in feeling confident and have plenty of time between now and then to do more diligence. But if the sample ballot is just that, and I have to go digging around to find all the details for 17 amendments just for the state constitution, there's burnout potential, I'm afraid, and that people will get kind of passive or overwhelmed. And I don't want people not to show up to the ballot boxes, but just maybe a cheat sheet, if you will, but that's neutral.
Right. No, I agree. And definitely neutral because people got to make their own decisions.
Exactly.
So we'll cover some of these amendments today, but moving forward, okay, we want to be able to make sure people are doing their homework because the information is out there, and we want to make sure that people are getting their information and know where to go and where that research is. And you can simply Google up right now constitutional amendments for Texas, and all 17 will pop up. So you can do that now, but we're going to go over at least 5 or 6 before we leave this call today, just to highlight some of those important things. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think we can do all 17 today.
I
But
just don't want the Google to be tainted. You know what I mean? Because then you have to sometimes search what links you click on because we know people pay to be on the top of the lists.
That's true. But I think if you go always to either the state website or whatever, you're going to get the language, and or the Bexar County, you'll get the language of the propositions. So, but we'll go over a few before we leave today. But I also saw Judge Huff on the call this morning, and I know she's got to be at court at 9 o'clock. Judge, talk about what's happening in your race, and when that what you want people to know, to be aware of for the race that you've got coming up. Judge Huff? I see
I
you.
apologize. I apologize. I'm actually walking into the building, the
Okay.
courtroom. So what was the question you were asking me, Representative?
So what's happening in your race? Are you up for election this November, correct?
I am up for all of the 15 county courts are up. We all run with the governor's race. And some they sprinkled out some of the district courts, but yes, indeed, I am up for re-election. This is my third term. I do have a Democrat primary opponent, but I think I've done a really good job in the community. I think I got really strong community support, and I'm looking forward to those 17 amendments that you guys were just talking about. When those amendments come out, I would love to like have maybe a panel and discuss those amendments and break those amendments down, like someone said earlier, about putting them just in plain English and just letting the community talk about them,
Okay.
discuss them. I would love to have like a panel discussion on that.
So y'all can see what's happening in November. If we've got 15 county courts elections, we've got 17 constitutional amendments, we've got Project Marvel coming up, and we've got the Coliseum project coming up on the county side. There's a lot that's going to be on this ballot. Okay. So
Indeed.
yeah. So we must come together and be able to start discussing some of these critical things. So I will address some of these today, but moving forward, it sounds like though we need to do this before early voting starts. So early voting starts, I believe. Let's see. The voter registration deadline is October 6th. October 6th is the deadline for voter registration. And then early voting in person is October 20th through the 31st. So we've got some tight deadlines, because think about it. October is next month. And so we don't have a lot of time. Anita Franklin, I see you opening up your mic. You wanted to state something about this?
Oh,
Anita?
yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Morning.
Have you guys kind of considered, and I'm just speaking in my district, District 2, utilizing the larger churches to have meetings? Because we're an aging population over here in this area, and a lot of the seniors are not going to read all that long, extensive text, but they like to go to meetings before it gets dark at night, and they will come and listen to the information presented. So that's just an ideal that might be helpful, for the population group over here in District 2. Thank you.
So having some church town halls that speak specifically to what's on the ballot this election, and addressing the constitutional amendments and looking at some of these county court positions that are up. Is that what you're saying, Anita?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what my office can do is approach some of these churches to see if we can set up something. And so I'm seeing my staffer saying Antioch or Second Baptist. We probably, Ariel, do we have approval for that yet?
I'm gonna call Patty now at Antioch, and I'll get at the Second Baptist today.
All right. Larita, you got your hand up. Unmute yourself, Larita.
Got it. Thank you. I was also going to say two things. One, reach out to Dr. Arnell at Greater Love, because I know they've been supported by some of your state dollars, to see if they'd be willing to house it. And then also, if you do a mailer or door to door, like, please, we need to make sure, because there's nothing coming out And we are what, 36 days out
Yes.
from early vote, and there's nothing in the community coming out. So I just wanted to see
Well,
door
what
to
we'll
door.
do,
I think the churches is a great idea. However, we need to make sure we hit the Hispanic churches as well, because
Larita, you keep going in and out. Okay.
can you hear me now? Or did you hear what I said?
Yeah, I didn't hear what you said, but go ahead. Repeat
Okay,
that.
so what I said was two things. One, I agree with Anita Franklin that we do need to get into the churches. We need to get into the Hispanic churches as well, because they are outvoting us in District 2. And we also need to either do a mailer or door to door or something, because people don't know anything other than Project Marvel is on the ballot.
Okay. So let's talk about Project Marble for a minute, so folks can understand. Because I did have a lengthy conversation with one of my pastors here in the district, understanding Project Marble and the idea of people being charged, or the citizens paying for it, and the taxes and all of that. I want to be clear. I need y'all to this takeaway today. What is proposed in Project Marble funding for the Spurs to build their arena and to restructure that area down there by the Texas Cultural Center, which now have been leveled. I don't know if y'all know that. It has been demolished already. That's off of 37 and Cesar Chavez. It's gone, okay? So when we talk about funding for Project Marble, the Spurs, through their equity partners and their sales, will put up some money. And then the city, through the state financing tool, has developed an area, 3 mile area, where there will be what they consider, what they call a hot tax, hotel motel tax, basically. So what the state allows is a local municipality, that's a city or county, is to add 2% or 2 points to the sales tax. That increment of up to 2 points raises money from people who come and stays in hotels, get rent-a-cars. So that's why they call it a tourism tax. So the projection is about 400 and something million will be raised on the county side, and I believe a little bit more on the city side. Okay, but they've taken a 3 mile radius area and said we're going to redevelop this. To make that happen, we're going to charge this hotel motel tax at 2%. That's why they're saying the people's property tax will not go up, and or it is not on the burden of the citizens of San Antonio. It's for the people who come to San Antonio. Somebody needs to be muted. Someone needs to be muted. Ariel, is that you? We're hearing conversations in the back. Okay, thank you. So that incremental tax increase is how those funds will be raised. I'm not clear if folks on this call truly understand that piece of it, because what I'm hearing is folks saying we're going to be taxed. They're raising our taxes. That's not true. It is a percent that the state allows to put on top of existing taxes to be able to collect from our tourism group. Any questions on that? I don't know if I was clear enough. I want to be clear. I want to check for understanding on that piece of it. Anita, did you understand what I just said about that additional percent that goes on top of existing taxes for our tourist people? Do you understand that? Is she still here, Anita? Okay. Anybody else have any questions about that, of what I just stated, of how that money is raised? Or any concern? Who have concerns about Project Marble on this call?
I have a concern, not necessarily about Project Marvel, because at this point, our us. I
You
do
what
have a
now? Hold on. You faded out that last. I heard the concern about Project Marble, then I
oh,
didn't hear anything after that.
okay. I said I don't have a concern about Project Marvel itself because at this point we know it's going to pass. I feel like at this point we should be making sure that we are at the table and you know what advantages our area can come away from. The concern I have about what you just said is it's going to make it higher for folks to come visit us unless they are staying in our homes. And we won't be able to enjoy it until that hot tax if we do anything downtown or if we decide we want to do a staycation. So it'd be great if they could put something in there that did not impact local folks.
And that's why it's so important to come to the table because, you know, a lot of times we think the powers to be have all the answers and they don't. And so when we're able to put our requests on the table, in most cases, they can be addressed. And so, you know, a lot of times I know our community fight a lot of stuff. But I think the reality is those things that you just said in terms of putting ideas forward, I think is important. So as we're continuing to talk about this, now y'all know it's going to be on the November ballot, right? And so we've got to talk about and negotiate with the powers to be to make sure that the citizens issues and concerns are dealt with. And I know, Tracy, you put in there about previous promises. Well, those promises have not been met because the people from the district, once the election is over, they go home and don't put any pressure on anybody. So the people have to step up too and be able to put pressure on folks to make sure that the city and or county and or the Spurs live up to what the promises are. Some promises were unrealistic, and I think we've got to make sure that whatever we ask is realistic. So I think protection of our local people is realistic. We can do that. There's other things that I've got suggestions for. I'm not prepared to reveal them publicly now, but I think that there can be some things we can protect people. I do see that there's some hands up. And so I want to be able to call Toro and anybody else who got their hand up first.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning. This is Toro. I'm just here. I think what I'm hearing from everybody, even in the community, that this is a win-win situation for both projects to be passed. And honestly, it's because we've been misinformed in the community, that saying that it's all going to be based on a tax, that we are going to end up being taxed on our properties. But like you explained it so clearly and eloquently, that it's basically on the hotel tax. It's basically what's happening here, that a lot of the stuff that it's happening in other cities is paid by others who come and visit their cities. And I think we should move into that same bandwagon to improve our city and create more jobs. And this is one of the things that a lot of the people that I've been talking to is really focused on, because when you have a first-class city with first-class entertainment, you're creating fine jobs here in this community. So that's all I have to say. I think it's a win-win situation for all of us.
Thank you for that, Toro. And I want to be clear too. Think about this, a 2% tax increase. See, when you spread those type of things, it's not as big for everybody else. Okay. So think about on a $200 hotel room. $200 hotel room, Melvin, you add 2% to that. What's that? 2% of $200. That's not a whole lot. Okay. So Laretha, to address your question, is the impact is really not that significant when you spread it around. It's the combination of millions of people coming here, and that 2% now brings in big revenue for the city. Okay, so I think that's important. Okay. Anybody else
Thank
had
you
their
for
hand
clearing
up?
that up.
Okay, thank you.
Good mo-
Anybody else had their hand up that I didn't get to? Go ahead and speak.
Yes, good morning. This is Gwendolyn Bolden. And I just want to say that I feel, and I live in Bear County and have property in District 2. I feel that we are not being involved or included in these conversations to hold people accountable. Especially with the venue tax. I don't have a problem with that, but I have a problem. I'm part of Conan, which is the Northeast Area Neighborhood Association, HOA, and we have requested that Judge Sakai and different people come and talk to our group. And we have been met with, they're not available. So when we go vote, we don't have all the information. And so we want to be a part of that solution, and we want to be there for those meetings to see what's going on so that we know all of it.
So if you would put your information in the chat and or contact my office, so Ariel put our contact in there, I'll make sure someone comes out and be able to present so that y'all can have a voice in this process.
Thank you very much. Will do.
Let's make sure we make that happen, Ariel. Anybody else who had their hand up that had a question on this tax incremental deal that we're dealing with Project Marvel, which is separate from the Coliseum. So I want to be clear, those are two different distinct projects. The benefit to the east side is that, think about it, we're going to be impacted by both. The Project Marble, which is downtown, Cesar Chavez and 37 right there. And then you've got the Coliseum, which is the Frostbank Center on East Houston and AT&T Center Parkway. So those are two critical projects. It is 3 minutes to 9. I'm going to go till 9:15 today because I do want to talk a little bit more about the constitutional amendments. So I'll tell you we'll start with, and we're going to do some things out in the community because, and y'all are going to have to call my office and request if you've got a specific thing, okay? But I want to make sure that I'm putting pressure on the county to get folks out. Now, there is a town hall coming up. Aria, when is that town hall coming up with the county? Get that information so before we leave this call, people will know when that town hall is coming up to be able to hear Judge Sakai and the county presenting the proposal for the Coliseum.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
what we'll also do is push out to the dates of the town halls and the places so you'll know where they are. All right, I'm gonna start with Proposition 1. Remember, we're going to 9:15 for those who can stay. Proposition 1 establishes a permanent capital fund for the Texas State Technical College System. Right now, every session, we have to vote on putting money in the budget for our technical colleges. What this amendment does is put a permanent fund in place so that we don't have to vote on it every session. It becomes a line item in the state budget. Let's be clear. Proposition 1 establishes a permanent capital fund for the Texas State Technical College System. So any of your, mainly impacting your junior colleges, your technical colleges, will have a permanent fund that will be in the state budget rather than wondering every year if they're going to get money or not. That's Proposition 1. I voted for it. I believe that it should be a line item if we're going to support our workforce development and our technical colleges. That's Proposition 1. Anybody have any question on Proposition 1? Okay. Proposition 2, prohibiting a capital gains tax. So right now, the Texas Constitution prohibits the legislator from imposing a tax on an individual's net income. So basically what they're saying is we don't have state tax. And I think we're all happy about that, okay? Some people say, or the naysayers say, we don't really need this amendment because we already don't pay tax on certain things, okay? But the people who support it says it will encourage economic growth, all right? Because what it does is that if you have investments, realized or unrealized capital gains as an individual or your estate or trust, things you leave to your people, the proposition would modify and prohibit forever until if another amendment passes that people can't tax basically your capital gains or your estate. I voted yes for it, only for the, and some people say it's only for the rich. Well, I think us working people got a little money too that we want to leave to our kids, that we don't necessarily want it to be taxed. And so Proposition 2 is all about capital gain tax. You can say it's a rich person's tax. I say it's anybody who got in a little nest egg that they've saved. Their kids don't have to pay capital gain tax on that. Edward, I see you kind of unmuted yourself. You got a questions on that one? On the capital gain tax?
Actually, I believe that the capital gains tax is essential for growth, especially in San Antonio. San Antonio, as we all know, I just saw something yesterday where, you know, the poverty rate is really high. So we need more businesses to move into San Antonio. And I believe that the leadership should go ahead and focus on getting new businesses, especially corporate offices, to relocate in San Antonio.
Well, remember now, what this tax focuses on is your estate taxes. So if you've got money and you want to lead to folks, what this is saying is they can't tax that. And what you're saying is they need to tax it. Edward? Okay.
I have a question about that specifically.
You say you do have one?
Yeah, I was wondering, like, when you talk about the amount of taxes that are being taxed for people who are leaving their estates or whatever to their children, how much of that money is actually for lower income people? Because I mean, if the poverty rate of Texas is going up over the last few years, why would we want to allow richer people to continue to give more and more money to their children through these things? Because people say that they don't want a death tax, but then they don't realize that when they die, they're not going to be rich. So how many people are actually rich giving this money to their children versus the people who are lower income?
I know you're focusing, Jacob, on rich people, but what about people who just worked and was able to put a little nest egg aside?
What is the cap? What is the amount of money?
There is no cap, because right now, let's be clear now, there's no capital gain tax now. And what this proposition is put it into the Constitution.
So that means that they would not be taxed, or they would be taxed when an amount of money is left to a child.
Okay, they're not taxed now. Okay, so some people say this proposition is unnecessary. You with me? Because we currently don't tax the capital gain pieces. This was raised by, I remember my representative Cole Hafner. They want to put it into the Constitution that it can never be. But again, that's why individuals have to make their decision. If it's your belief that it's only for rich people and you don't want that to happen, you're going to vote no against this proposition.
Yeah, I think personally, I will be voting no on it just because I don't want it to be constitutionally amended that says we can never take rich people's money. I mean, we're obviously talking about the stadiums and stuff with billionaires trying to get more taxes from the people to build stadiums when they have billions of dollars. So it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Okay, and definitely look at on the chat. Thank you for that, Jacob. It's an analysis of the constitutional amendment my staff put in so people can look at those constitutional amendments. And I would love for y'all to look at them, read them, and then we have these kind of conversations that we're having with Jacob. Because remember, it's an individual choice in terms of how people want to handle that. I see another hand up. Grace, you have your hand up?
Thank you, Representative. Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'm just wondering what this is distracting from, or is a means of distraction. Why put into the Constitution something that's not being done already? Why bring it up if it hasn't? I mean, now we're creating controversy.
Well, what's happening is my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, okay, are saying, well, we know it ain't happening now, but we want to make sure it never happens.
So that raises the question as to, okay, what is there anything that this is drawing focus away from? A controversy for something that is not happening. Are we drawing the attention from, the redistricting issues? Are we trying to distract from other real issues that are, happening?
Well, we won't know that answer, but I think what's critical as we're making decisions on these propositions, like Jacob brought up, he feels that it's a safety net or support for the rich only. Okay. Well, again, like people say, it's not happening anyway, but my colleagues across the aisle is trying to, make sure it never happens. And that's why some people will vote against it.
Right. But the thing about it is then is there going to be a mechanism? I mean, there's no mechanism for the tax to occur. There's no state income tax.
Understood. But remember, once something is put into operations, that mechanism will be developed. Okay. So that's the world we live in. Okay.
Yeah.
And so Green, let's see, Green says something about it. It's their understanding. My understanding is capital gains are profits from land and stocks, estates, trust, not a $15,000 life insurance policy from mom or an inherited home. I agree with you. So when we look at capital gains, it's truly from other things that you have over and above your, like you say, your $15,000 insurance policy. But capital gains is capital gains. More young people are investing in the stock market than ever before. Okay. People are more aggressive in their investments these days. So as we look at my concern is that if I happen to save a few dollars for my people, okay, do I want now that money to be taxed when they get it, when I'm no longer here? So that's what I'm looking at in terms of myself.
Mm-hmm. And representatives, the thing about it is that I believe that probably in the next 5 to 10 years, we're looking at cryptocurrency, and people are investing in that, and that is yielding quite a bit, creating new millionaires and billionaires. It really is. And so this is ripe for this. So are we now at the beginning stage of creating an income tax for Texas? Because the mechanism will be built, and the mechanism will be establishing income tax.
Well, and see, I doubt if Texas ever have income tax for the mere fact. That's what my colleagues tout is that, and what brings a lot of people to Texas is that we don't have an income tax.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is the prelim for folks who do have resources to say they don't want their money, their capital gains taxed. And again, people have to make their decision individually in terms of how they feel. And so will it be the folks with money vote for this and the people without money vote against it? That's the beauty of democracy. Make your choice. Okay. Now, the final one I'm gonna cover is the requiring of the denial of bail for certain felony offenses. This was a tough one, y'all. This was tough because this is Proposition 3. Proposition 3 would add that the Texas Constitution will require that bail be denied attending trial to a person accused of one or more of the following felony offenses. Notice the word is accused, not convicted, but accused. So what I see this does is take away some of the judge's discretion. And I'm concerned about that. I think everybody is entitled to due process. I want y'all to really look at Proposition 3. It's a hard one. On its face, it's saying if someone commits a felony and then they do something again related to murder, capital murder, aggravated assault, bodily injury, aggravated kidnapping, robbery or sexual assault, indecency with a child, trafficking of persons. They're saying if that person had a felony and is accused of one of these horrendous crimes again, they will be automatically denied bail. Automatically, okay? What I saw was due process being taken away. Beverly, I saw your hand up. Are you still, you had a question per se?
No, Barbara, please come to me after you finish talking because you've been great to illuminate. Call on me after you finish. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm concerned about this one. I want y'all to look at Proposition 3 very closely, okay? So Jacob, you had a question. How can your office be more of a hub for the district to collect actionable nonviolent resistance? These meetings are great. I'm concerned one meeting a month isn't going to push back the darkness. Jacob, I agree with you. I think what's going to be important.
My test user. It's not applying to that person.
Were you saying something?
Sorry, there was some background noise.
Okay. So I want y'all to look at Proposition 3 real close because I really want us to discuss this when we get out in the community because that's a difficult one, but it's one we really have to look at. Proposition 3, I wanted y'all to look at that. I'm gonna highlight real quick and then we're gonna do some announcements and get off, okay? Some of these propositions are pretty easy, but the number 3, I want y'all to look at. Number 7, extending tax exemptions for surviving spouses of veterans, of certain veterans. I think that's an important one. Revising the business personal property tax exemption, increasing certain additional resident homestead exemptions was going to help people with their property taxes. And another one, Proposition 12, I want y'all to look at that one. It's revising the State Commission on Judicial Conduct, and I'm concerned about what the state is trying to do that. Here's one I think everybody would like, Proposition 13, increasing the resident homestead property exemption to $140,000, which means if your house is valued at less than $140,000, you have no property taxes to pay. So I just want to look at that. Proposition 15, affirming the rights and responsibilities of parents, okay? And then Proposition 16, prohibiting non-citizens from voting, okay? And then Proposition 17, authorizing a tax exemption for certain border security infrastructure. These are some important propositions. We can't cover them all, but it's something we have to have conversations on. I'll be reaching out to the churches to see if they can host some town halls. I'll be happy to be there. Where I can't be, I'll get some of my colleagues to be. With that being said, Beverly, any announcements you've got, and anybody else who have any announcements? Beverly, you're first. Go ahead.
Yes, and I did. Mine was on Proposition 14, which actually speaks to beginning to address dementia and Alzheimer. To please support that because what we have seen is, as particularly in poor communities, as our elderly, as people become elderly, when we don't have support for caring for dementia and Alzheimer, people end up with elderly neglect. So please, people, consider that. And Barbara, I just want to thank you for bringing all this forward and actually clearly saying this. And I would just like to say, this is just a comment about the process with Project Marble. I'm so glad you have stepped in to do this, but I want all of us, and I heard Mary speak earlier, I want all of us to step back and take a look at some of the things that are happening in Project Marble. What I have seen is a systematic exclusion of our county commissioner, Tommy Calvert, in that. And all of us should recognize that the disrespect that has been shown him in this district by county judge is very concerning, because if you're going to do this to our representative in his own district, what are you actually saying to us as a population? And it's really sad. And I just think I think we should all remember this, because don't tell me what you're going to do. Show me what you're going to do. And when you show me what you're going to do, you are actually then really telling me what you think of our community.
Okay. So you've got concerns about the process. So we'll make sure we get the town hall stuff out, push it out. Jacob, I want to give, are you still here, Jacob? Okay, Jacob is gone. Any other announcements? Anybody have any events coming up? Okay.
Representative, this is Tracy. Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yes.
So just, I want everybody to, if you have the bandwidth, please review all 17 of these proposed amendments, as well as the propositions, as well as the bonds. NEISD has a bond. We have 4 bonds that are going to be on the ballot in November. And one of the things I always say is everything touches something else. So if our property value is not taxed at $140,000, unless it's $140,000, that is great for us as individuals. It also has a trickle down effect on how we fund other things. I'm not saying don't vote for it. I'm all for it, but it will have a trickle effect on how we fund other things. So I would love for us to be thoughtful about what it is that we're voting for and what the long-term impact is for ourselves and our community at large and our children that come before us or come after us. And then my announcement is my foundation, the Community Table Foundation, is holding an event for young girls called Periods Aren't Spooky. And it's about demystifying what happens to a young woman and her body. And it's a fun event. We're doing it October the 18th at the kitchen. And I'm happy to share the flyer. But if you have some young girls who are about to menstruate or are menstruating or struggling with their bodies, we'll have Betty's Co. come out, talk to Girls Inc., have some gynecologists come out and just really help us be okay with what happens to us naturally as women.
Tracy, send us the flyer.
Yes, ma'am, I will.
Out to the folks on this call. Okay. Judge Grace, you had your hand up.
Yes. Thank you for bringing up and highlighting that Proposition 3. And as you've seen what has happening in this country, anytime that you start reducing and taking away the third and most powerful branch of the government, then this country is a country of laws, and the ones to interpret those laws and to be able to promote those laws, interpret them, and rule on them is the judges. And so the more that you take away from judging, from the judges who are learned about the law, the more that it becomes on the executive branch. And so this is, if this is intended to take away and restrict the discretion of judges, then I think that we're moving in a direction that will not be very good for this country. So please take that into consideration. And thank you for your emphasis on it, Representative.
Okay, so let's look at it. So final thing, October 1, the county is hosting at Freeman Coliseum on the project related to the Coliseum redesign. Okay. So with that, ladies and gents, thank y'all so much. I know it's a lot of stuff we talked about, and it's hard in this format We'll try to touch on some of the subjects, but Antioch has agreed to host a town hall so we can talk about these propositions. We will get more churches involved, and we're going to make sure that folks know what's happening in these propositions so that we can have valuable conversation, not one side or the other, but valuable conversation so people can make their own decision about how they want to vote on these important issues. So have a great day, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'll see you next month. Take care. And or at some of the town halls. I see y'all. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.